by Dennis J. Courtney, M.D., Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, M.D.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AIM Impact on Your Health. AIM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AIM Impact on Your Health, well, it's heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AIM Impact on Your Health, where each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, it is a Friday version of the show. We say a get 'em up, out of town version of the show. We don't know what you've got on your slate for this weekend. We hope that you aren't infringed upon anyway by the weather. Listening to Bill, it seems like things are going to be pretty well in that regard. Here, we'll send you off, allowing you to get it off your chest. Give us a call today if you've got anything on your mind. I got some titillating little tidbits I want to serve up and see if you have an impression or want to weigh in on any one of them. But you don't have to respond to what I may throw out there. You may already have something in mind that you want to bring to the table. And if you do, give us a call at 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. It's open phones today, and I'll be waiting for that knock on the door. Please give us a call, by the way. Those of you who may have seen The Fox last night. Charlie the Fox, that is, who was the featured speaker up at the Butler Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy Group. Now, he's been spreading a little love dust all around town. He's been going to a number of different venues. I like that idea. I think that's a wonderful way to bring whoever is coming to Pittsburgh to the Freedom of Choice Group and letting them visit various aspects of the town. And so, culminating in the big event, as it was, let me know if you were up there last night and what you thought of Charlie the Fox, especially if you had never really met him before. He's a dynamic guy, and I'm sure those in attendance had a wonderful time. How about sharing that wonderful time with us and let us know what you may have learned? Because he kept saying to us on our radio show on Wednesday, well, I'm going to talk about this, and I'm going to let you know that, and then you take this, and you take this. Well, we never really got any numbers here. He was teasing us the entire time. Was the tease worth it? Give us a call if you went up to see Charlie the Fox last night, 412-825-6262. Got a knock on the door. Come on the store. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Doctor.
Hi.
I didn't get a chance to get up here. It's too far for me, and I drive alone at night, and it scares me.
Well, okay, better that you stayed home. We'll just...
I did listen to him on your show on Wednesday, and it was so enlightening.
Oh, yeah.
What I don't know, would I be able to take the aged garlic with other vitamins at the same time?
Oh, I think I can answer that question for you without Charlie being here. The answer is you absolutely can. We're talking about natural substances here, no interaction with medications at all. I wouldn't worry about it one single bit. You take it certainly with all your supplements, and I'm even here to say that you could take it with any of your medications, even though...
But guess what, Doctor? I'm 78 years old, and I'm not even an aspirin.
Well, I'm so thankful for you and your present health status, and I'm sure you're going to stay that way. For those of you out here less fortunate and maybe on medications, for you, I say this, don't worry about the meds. You take the garlic, and I think you'll be just fine. No interaction to worry about.
Another question. Is there ever any carpooling that could go up to Butler to these meetings?
Never quite thought of it that way. I'd probably be one who could like to enter that pool. 'Cause I hate that drive up there. 'Cause it is lengthy. I say sometimes these speakers really get whipped up, and they finish like 11 o'clock, and I get home at 1 in the morning. So it gets pretty bad.
Because I live in the Crafton area, and that's very far.
Well, you know what we're going to try to do, and I promise you I'll keep you informed on this. I talked to Gina. She is one of the gals that runs the Sunnybridge health food store. Haven't spoken to Darcy yet, but I'm hoping that when someone comes to town to speak at the Freedom of Choice of Cancer Therapy group, which is the culmination of the events for the week, they should come here a day or two early and hit a number of venues on the other days. And I think that would be a wonderful way to allow somebody like you who really can't ever go to Butler, just in your particular set of circumstances, it doesn't work for you. You could ride with someone else you'd love to.
I'd pay for the gas.
And you'd pay for the gas. Well, there you go, folks. I may be able to hook up. You aren't on one of those dating services on the internet, are you?
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
All right. Look, I'll keep talking about this issue of allowing the featured speakers that come to town for the big group. They need to spread themselves around. If this was a little closer to you, you probably would take the invite up a little easier than you would going to Butler. Even if you were paying for the gas, it's still quite a distance. So let's say. Well, there's so much excitement, especially this guy Charlie the Fox. I mean, when you're in his presence, he just electrifies you. It spills right off, and his energy is imparted to you just by him being in the room. And it's a shame you missed him. I will say this much: Charlie, 83 years old as he is, he'll be back. He'll come back, and by the next time he comes around, maybe we'll have a little better setup to accommodate folks like you. And by the way, folks like me. Okay?
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome.
What's the rest of your show?
Oh, but keep on listening. There it is. Okay, so we have heard from one that was unable to go to see the Fox. Anybody out there who went to see the Fox, give us a call and let us know how crafty that little fox was last night. 412-825-6262. Now, up and coming in this month of November, on Monday, guest, a new one, wrote a book, had never seen it. I've been leafing through it and learning an awful lot about environmental. This is the place, by the way, folks. I mean, if you've got environmental issues and if you had been afflicted by environmental toxins to the point where your life was altered, you should write a book about it too. Anyway, Faye Houston sure did. Her book is entitled Silent Enemy, Environmental Illness and One Woman's Search for a Cure. She's going to be our guest on Monday, where we'll talk about her book and her plight and how she made it through and came out the other end and emerged much better for her journey than she was when she was stuck smack dab in the middle of it. On Wednesday, still trying to connect with him, haven't had the opportunity to raise him. I've talked to just about everybody out at his pain clinic in L.A., but I feel very certain we'll be on the air with Dr. Gregory Smith, a renowned anesthesiologist in the Los Angeles area who treats chronic pain in a unique way. He calls it the NEST, N-E-S-T technique, and that's an acronym. I'm going to let him talk about it. I'm always interested in colleagues of mine who work in similar types of arenas that I do, chronic pain certainly being one of them. And we've been talking a lot about pain issues, pain measures, and the treatment thereof. And Matrix was one of the last big items that we hit. Just so happens that Dr. Gregory Smith utilizes Matrix in all of what he does out there in L.A. So you're always worried about what are they doing in L.A. because it always goes there first and comes here second. I got a feeling you were first here, folks, with the Matrix, and they were second. But let's find out about it from Dr. Gregory Smith. And he talks about the treatment of chronic pain on Wednesday the 17th. Then on the 24th, Peter DeWitt is going to be our guest talking about recall healing. Heal thyself, transform your life, and transform your health. That'll be Dr. Peter DeWitt, our guest on the 24th. And that's pretty much how the month shapes up right now. Now today, got a number of things on my plate. I'm still offering out there, any one of you who, hey, were you up there at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy group? Let us know, 412-825-6262. I've got plenty of things on my plate to discuss. One of the first things I'm going to talk about, we'll take a short break and get ready for it. You have to change gears, folks. We're going to get into a different mood. How about this? 5 reasons people don't like their doctor. We talked to you about one physician's attempt to try to learn that, and what it turned into. I've got the list of 5. I wonder if you can come up with 3 of the 5? I'm guessing you can. And we'll deal with that as soon as we come back. 5 reasons people don't like their doctor. Be back in a moment to talk about it.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instructions, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you are looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately with a big top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day is a dream in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivered 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Through the Spirit. The blessings of Through the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith, but Through the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Through the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Through the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800-442-3793 for your good health. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Here on this Friday morning, get 'em up out of town version of the show, we have opened it up to you today if you want to call in and weigh in on any subject at all, ones that I may be speaking of, ones that I might not be. It doesn't matter. 412-825-6262. An APB is going out there for those who were up at the Freedom of Choice and Cancer Therapy group last night. Someone let us know how Charlie the Fox did with all of you up there. I think I already know the answer. It's got to be very positive. He's definitely that one positive guy with a lot of energy spilling off of him. While we're waiting to hear knocks on the door, one of the offerings I bring you today, I mentioned it to you the other day, it caught my eye, a physician, a medical doctor, a neurologist actually. His name is Dr. Richard C. Senelek. He serves as a medical director of something called RIOSA, R-I-O-S-A. I don't know what the acronym stands for, but I enjoyed looking at his posting on one of the blogs I was floating through the other day, in that the gentleman, very much interested in doctor-patient relationships, was trying to do a legitimate and scientific job on these relationships and how people felt about their doctor. And so, however he developed the questionnaire or whatever it was that he used as the vehicle to gather this information, and that's really not stated in the article, what started out as a lofty goal turned into literally a nightmare. Because when this guy started asking about how do you feel about your doctor, he got barraged. I mean, he got assaulted with people who didn't mind telling him one bit of how they felt about their doctor. And most of their interactions, of course, I'm interpreting as their interactions with the conventional medical community. And you out there are vocal enough now that you don't hold back, and you gave Dr. Richard Senelek an earful or an eyeful, however you communicated to him, how you felt about your doctors and the relationship you have with them. And so he finally said, enough, I got to give up. I don't want any more. Please, no more entries. No, don't call me. Don't write me. I got the message. and he writes an article much different than I think he originally intended it to be. But he says, okay, I asked and I got answers. In fact, there were the same 5 answers over and over and over again. I don't think I maybe should continue on this any longer, so let me pull together what I have, let me give it to you, and then let me now give to you what Dr. Selinek wrote about on the blog that I happened to catch. Here are the 5 most commonly described reasons people don't like their doctors. Number 1, I wonder if you're going to rate this. My doctor doesn't listen to me. Well, I certainly heard that before with patients that I've seen here. They just don't appear to be paying attention. In fact, the way it was described to me in this article by Dr. Selinek is that 2 conversations are going on, although one may be only vocalized. It may be that the patient's telling their story, but the doctor's not really listening. He's got his own story, as I'm now reading this article, behind in the back of his mind while he's listening to you tell yours, and there's a clash, and patients are feeling it. Patients say it's palpable. My doctor doesn't listen to me is the number 1 reason why of the 5 that people don't like their doctor. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2, I have to wait too long. Well, I'm sure that everyone would agree. If you had to get something good, you could expect to wait for it. I think if you had to wait a long time, and these amounts of time I know vary, but at the end of the line, if you met a doctor who was pleasant, who listened to your concerns, who allowed you to put on the table, allowed them to put on the table what it is that is on their mind, meaning you, the patient, there's no wait that's too long for you, I'm sure, because I know that happens here in my office. I know the patients sometimes get delayed. I'm in here with a patient, and their concerns are the only thing on my mind, and oftentimes we run over. And I have patients come in many times and are not too happy with the delay that may have ensued while I was with a previous patient. But as I tell them, look, I didn't look at my watch when I was talking to them. I'm certainly not going to look at my watch when I'm talking to you. And at the end of the line, they're just as happy when they left if they know that you are going to devote the time to them and listen to them, and you're not going to be looking at your watch. So, number 1, my doctor doesn't listen to me. I think I could have filled this thing out. Listening to what I've heard patients tell me over time, I think I could have filled out my doctor doesn't listen to me as the number 1 reason. Waiting too long, wouldn't be too difficult for me to consider that without ever reading this article. Probably right about it too. They give you a couple little hints. Dr. Selinek says, find out when your doctor starts and get the first appointment. These are little hints to make your appointment much more smooth than it could go if you didn't do it. Call 30 minutes before your appointment and find out the doctor's running on time. Another suggestion. Always bring work or a book, as the magazines in the office are outdated, and at least you will be productive. And if your doctor is chronically late, he says, find another doctor. Hey, fire the doctor. Number 3, and the 5 reasons why people don't like their doctor. This one is a pretty tragic one too. My doctor, they say over and over again, just doesn't care. I'm not even going to comment on that. If you actually feel that your doctor doesn't even care, let me put in a little caveat of what I think you got to do about it. And I'm going to revert back to the previous category of being on time. And the last item was, if your doctor is chronically late, find another doctor. If you feel that your doctor just doesn't care, I'm going to tell you, find another doctor. You fire that doctor and you get to someone who at least you feel cares about your condition, maybe doesn't know how to treat it, maybe wants to use drugs to do it. That's all a different matter. But if you truly think he doesn't care, you need to fire him and fire him fast. Number 4, doctors make too much money. I don't think the gentleman was really asking for that when he said what are the 5 most common reasons people don't like their doctor. But to hear that, even unsolicited as it was, that this issue of money and how much the doctor makes turns out to be coming to him as a response in droves, in truckloads of literature, either written or spoken, people are upset. The doctors, I guess, are making that much money if they don't care, if they run late, and if they absolutely don't listen. Yeah, maybe they are making way too much money. I never thought about that one. Number 5, and I think when you can say that putting out in the street that you'd like to get information from people telling you why they don't like their doctor or what is the issue with their doctor that bothers them the most, and you put a compendium together of the 5 most common responses, and this is in the 5th position, you know you got a real problem, because in the number 5 spot, he has, my dog gets more respect than I do from his dog. And I think is enough said on the matter. There you have it. Dr. Selinek, I understand why you just have given up and you don't want any more responses. I think that's very revealing, however. I think you got the message, and thanks for putting it out for all of us to digest the 5 most common reasons why you don't like your doctor. There you have it. Now, I'm going to take just a moment. You know, last week we spent some time on this issue of memory loss, and there was a new word for me, plethora. That means a lot. There has been a lot of interest and a lot of articles that make it in the media, whether it's the written media or the blogosphere or the media of radio and television. Memory loss issue, you can't turn around without finding another article or another guest or some expert talking about memory and what to do about it. I was with great interest waiting for the arrival and return of our good friend Mr. Mark Underwood, gentleman who manufactures a product called Prevagen, and enjoyed having him on our show on Monday. I said, in anticipation of his arrival, it looks as though a protocol is starting to emerge with a scientific basis for it that I think is a way that we will now proceed with memory loss issues in my office. I say there's 6 steps. I don't know if you caught them or not, but those of you who like to jot down things in the background, and you can jot down these because I believe these are can be expanded on, but this is a starting list. It starts with a list of 6. As I add to it, as time moves on, I'll let you know when another additions can be made. But the first 4 on the list come directly from the work of Dr. David Perlmutter, who's writing a new book called The Power of the Brain, not released yet. We'll get David. I've already called his office. We're trying to arrange to bring him on the show. But what David was revealing to us in an article I brought to you last week was that there is a factor that can be measured in the blood called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, otherwise known as BDNF. Now, BDNF, I believe, is going to be, you're going to see it a lot. It's going to keep coming up. And those things that improve BDNF, which allow for neuron regeneration, that is the new battle cry of the conventional medical community, whereas it had been believed in the past that once a nerve is gone, it's gone, and it can't come back. And that's been the body of thinking all the way back from an article I quoted to you in 1928. Well, here we are in 2010, and the model changes, the matrix changes, and it turns out that there actually are ways to regenerate neurons by increasing an amount of this substance, an amino acid called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. There were 4 things that Dr. Perlmutter, in his little blurb, his article, wrote about as increasing BDNF, which were, here they come, walking and exercise. Number 2, caloric restriction. About 30, the studies that were cited showed a caloric restriction of about 30% increased BDNF. A spice, an element found in a spice called curcumin, the main and active ingredient in a spice called turmeric, is something that is well known to increase BDNF. And finally, according to Dr. Perlmutter, DHA, which I think was found in every other protocol I ever wrote about, which are essential fatty acids, are also listed as one of those items which dramatically increase the quantity of BDNF. So those first four things, I believe, should be four prominent components of a memory loss reversal protocol. I think maybe I better rephrase how we should call it. It's not a memory loss protocol. It doesn't promote it. It's a memory loss reversal protocol. I add to it 5 and 6. 5 being, I think Prevagen does have a role. I think that you can't have everything at 100%. And I know we had a person who had tried the product call up last week and saying, and they never got any benefit. But I refer you back to the literature that's on the website, Prevagen.com, showing the studies that they did, actually showing that there is a chance for a very good response because of the use of something called calcium-binding proteins that are found in a jellyfish. Now, we learned that the product that the name of the substance that's found in Prevagen is not obtained from a jellyfish. However, it is naturally derived from a fermentation product, so it is a natural product. It is not a pharmaceutical. It is not a chemical. It is not a compound that's strange and doesn't exist in nature. No, it does exist in nature. Then the final addition to the protocol, which I brought to this table a long time ago, and had told you that I've seen miraculous turnarounds when only it was being used at the time, is the use of this cardiovascular modality called ECP. Stands for external contrapulsation. We've talked about it many times. There'll be the opportunity to talk about it many more times in the future. I will say it appears that pharmaceutically derived substances such as vinpocetine or huperzine, which are constantly written for as prescriptions by the conventional medical community, just don't have a payoff at all. And because it is a pharmaceutical and because it is a chemical, the side effects of them far outweigh any benefit that I've ever seen. And each and every time I talk to somebody who is also in the medical field and ask them about it, they are telling me the same thing that I've observed, that there really isn't been much benefit in using things like vinpocetine and huperzine. And so I've brought that protocol back to you. They put it in the form of, the protocol number is at 6 right now as I add to it. And this is eclectic enough that as other information comes to my attention, I could very well be adding to it. I just never know when it's going to happen, but I'll let you know what the additions to this protocol will be as time moves on. The memory loss reversal protocol taking shape, and I thought I'd share it with you. All right. How do you feel about that protocol? By the way, how do you feel about those 5 most common reasons that people don't like their doctor? How do you feel about anything that's important to us today? It's an open phone day for you. 412-825-6262 is the number. Call us, give us a ring, give us a knock on the door. I'll let you in the store. Let's do this. Take a short break. When we come back, we're talking about bees the other day, apitherapy. I was searching for the name of the guy who I used to talk with when I was receiving my education on apitherapy. His name is Charlie Morass. I'm going to talk to you a bit about Charlie when we return. Be back in just a short moment.
Want to help your family eat healthier? First to discuss tofu with Wonder Play. How about some real nutritional power? If your family has the typical American palate for fries, pizza, and burgers, giving your family the blessing of good nutrition is a struggle. Fruit of the Spirit is the answer for your family's nutritional needs. Fruit of the Spirit is an all-natural whole fruit puree made from fresh fruits native to the Holy Land with alkalizing minerals. Fruit of the Spirit was 5 years in the formulation, the work of a team of top nutritional experts with independent science to confirm its antioxidant power. 1 ounce a day provides the equivalent of 5 servings of fruits and and minerals. Fruit the Spirit is convenient, affordable, and delicious. Even your picky family will sing the praises of Fruit the Spirit. Give your loved ones the blessing of good nutrition. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. That's 1-800-442-3793. Call them now, 1-800-442-3793.
This is Dennis J. Courtney, MD. Have you become confused about how best to manage your health? It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Good morning and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to AM Impact on Your Health here on this Friday morning, get 'em up out of time version of our show. Each and every Friday we try, and when we can, and most of the time we can, try to open it up to you to allow you to come on in and find out what's on your mind on any topic we may be discussing, have discussed, or ones that have yet to be even mentioned. Whatever's on your mind is okay with me. The number to do that is 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. Now, the other day, I was talking about beekeeping here in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you remember me talking about Penn State. It seems to be the local educational facility that is the promoter of beekeeping and apitherapy and the like, is actually now helping to develop beehive and beekeeping in the city of Pittsburgh, within the confines of the city of Pittsburgh. And in reading that article and bringing it to your attention the other day, it caused me to think about a very good, at the time, very good friend of mine, who was the initiator and the guy who really gave me all the information that I could on I could learn on beekeeping and apitherapy. And his name, the other day, was stumbling for it, Charlie, and I couldn't remember his name. Came to me. His name was Charlie Morass. Now, I had mentioned on the airway the other day that apitherapy is the name given to the use of using bee venom and the injection thereof of bee venom, whether that bee venom is coming in its natural source from actually a bee sting, or, in the case of Charlie, his real connection, and the reason we got to become friends, is that Charlie was located in Vermont. And when you called up, he picked up the phone. It was Charlie answering all right. And he would, and I don't know how he did it, folks, would actually obtain, harvest, procure bee venom from his bees that he would then put in a vial, packed it sterilely, and would send to various doctors throughout the country who wanted to allow their patients with mostly the neurological diseases, things like MS, Parkinson's, and the like, ALS, these neurological diseases appeared to have a response to bee venom therapy. As I say, the overall name for bee venom therapy is called apitherapy. That's apitherapy. I went to the internet and I started Googling up apitherapy, as one of my callers from the other day was asking me about it. And so I thought, well, let me go back and refresh my mind. And there it was. You can't Google up anything on apitherapy that has taken place in the United States and not have Charlie Morass's name staring you right in the kisser. That happened to me the other day. Big article on appytherapy.org. This appears to be the United States website for Appy Therapy. And here it was. I'll share with you on September 13th, 1999, following a brief illness, Charles Mraz, that's spelled M-R-A-Z, died peacefully at the age of 94, surrounded by his family. He was born on July 26, 1905, in Woodside, New York, the son of Carl and Maris Mraz. Yeah, he was up in Vermont. He was always approachable. I knew that he had passed, and I had mentioned it on the air. But those who want to find out more about Charlie and his love, he was recognized as the pioneer in bee venom therapy, and he used bee stings to treat various disorders. Primarily, here's a list of them, folks: autoimmune diseases, in addition to clinical research with scientists at Sloan Kettering Institute, especially with respect to MS, Parkinson's, and ALS. Charlie Mraz be greatly missed. I don't know which source could be out there right now that replaced the service that was performed by Charlie, because you could call up there, he'd answer the phone, and he'd send you a vial of bee venom, and he would hardly charge you for it either, which was amazing. He almost did it as a public service. And then what it allowed for was people didn't have to sit around, I don't know whether they actually sit around the beehive or whether they collect a number of bees and sit in somebody's living room. I really don't know how that works, but whenever you could get a vial of the bee venom from Charlie, which wasn't as potent as the actual bee stings, he would tell you, but was certainly a good alternative. And whatever process he had to use to harvest it and then bottle it, it was certainly unique to him. And I know of nobody else who has picked up the gauntlet, and I don't know of any other source for bee venom other than the actual bee stings themselves, which still go on to this very day. And by the way, in the western Pennsylvania area, as we learned back then, and I'm sure it still exists today, were many of these Appy Therapy centers. I think if you want to know more about it, if you have any of these diseases, you want to know more about it, dial up Appy Therapy, APITHERAPY, appytherapy.org. You can read about Charlie there, and also it has, you can become a member and find out where the most local source would be to be able to receive something called Appy Therapy, and we'll let it go at that. My hat's off to Charlie Mraz, the godfather of bee venom therapy here in the United States, since departed a number of years ago, but fondly remembered by me, and what a contributor to medical science that he was. Hats off to you, Charlie. Hey, I hear a knock on the door. Come on the store. Hello, and welcome aboard. What's on your mind?
Good morning.
Hi.
Did you take your garlic this morning, Doc?
I didn't get my garlic. You know, Charlie promised me that when he returned back to the West Coast, I was going to get all the products that Kyolic makes. And he hasn't back yet, and I will wait for my supply, but I haven't taken it this morning. No, I have not.
Okay.
Did you?
Go ahead.
Did you take your garlic this morning?
I ate a bunch of garlic raw last night, but I do have the cowlick, and I've been, you know, it's one of those things, I have it, but I get involved in so many other things, I forget A, B, and C. I get off on X, Y, and Z, and I forget A, B, and C, so I need to get back on the cowlick.
Get back on A, B, and C, yeah. What's on your mind today, my friend?
I'd like to do a little bit of Paul Harvey, and now for the rest of the story.
Okay, take the airway. Go ahead. What's on your mind?
I'm a dedicated listener. I've been listening over the years. So, number one, I'd like to know a little bit about the Epicor saga, and also maybe Lee Becker. I've never heard much on her, and I don't hear you talking about Epicor much. So if you can just address that briefly.
I will do so. Okay. Is there another part to that, or you want to just talk about Epicor right now?
Just right now.
All right, well, Epicor was the name of a product we certainly did put the full force of our reputation behind, both Arlene and myself. It's a number of years ago now. Epicor, as you probably remember, because you actually are recalling the name with clarity, was a product derived from a company who made veterinary feed, okay? And they noticed that people who were helping in the manufacturing of and the production of that product, just if they worked on the line, they never got sick. And that then blossomed into why didn't they get sick, and it must have something to do with the product. And it certainly did, because Epicor did then and still does now promote immune-boosting components that allow you to ward off disease. I think that Epicor is as valuable now as it was then. I think that maybe one of the reasons why we haven't spoken about it so much is that you're so right. It was tied to Arlene Brecker. She's the one that brought it to me. And since her passing of about a year and a half ago, Arlene passed away. And what a dear person she was, and what a close friend she became, and a frequent visitor to this show. And at the time, she was all stirred up about Epicor. I think one of the issues that made us a little concerned about Epicor was that the integrity of the product. It was being picked up by too many producers. The company, that veterinary company, feed company, instead of controlling this so that the integrity of the product was maintained, they went the money route, and the product they weren't able to verify that the integrity was going to be maintained, and that caused us great concern. I haven't had much input from the company that we dealt with at the time since then, but I think it's because of Arlene's passing. Maybe I should get back on this and get somebody in there, and let's find out what the most recent research was on it, because we certainly did promote the product. We thought it was a great way to start off flu season, by the way. We said if you took Epicor, you wouldn't need to take any vaccines for sure, because you weren't going to get the flu. And I have not continued I'm not as clear with the product now because it's been so long since her passing, and I promise you to find out more about where they stand right now and bring it to your attention again. Fair enough?
You see what I mean? You know, we get off on X, Y, and Z, and we forget about A, B, and C.
Well, it certainly was a great product at the time. I did see a problem coming where the integrity of that product was going to be compromised. I think that's the word I'm searching for. Compromised, and that was a big thing going on with Arlene. Then she passed away, and I started worrying more about X, Y, and Z rather than A, B, and C. So I'm going to get back to A, B, C's. I promise to report more on Epicor in the up-and-coming shows. Fair enough?
Now, you got me concerned when you're saying compromised. I do know some regular vitamin companies were selling it, and I buy it, and it still looks a good quality product to me. I open the capsule up, mix it with water. When you say integrity, what do you mean? It was.
Well, I meant that so oftentimes happens. That company, that veterinary company, had a jewel of a product, and at the time we were promoting it, there was only one company that they were allowing to process this stuff. They had the control. They allowed their imprimatur to remain on the integrity of the product. What we saw happening, and you may very well have, with what you just said, verified that it did happen, is that a whole bunch of companies picked up on this product, okay? And once multiple companies get involved, the integrity of the product can potentially be compromised. I think that's a better way of putting it. Can potentially be compromised. As to the product you're taking with Epicor in it, I couldn't tell you whether it is or not. But I think this deserves another look. I think I need to do my due diligence and bring it back to you, and where I find to be the integrity and where I could actually still support the use of the product, because as it stands right now, I know multiple companies did get it, and it concerned me that they were going to get it because they lost control. Is it really a factor in the product you're taking? I have no idea, but I promise to investigate it and report back to you.
Well, don't worry. When Codex comes out, it'll be in
you won't be allowed to take it anyway. You won't be allowed to take it anyway when Codex comes out. Yeah, very good point. Except under doctor's prescription.
Okay, since you mentioned her name, and now for the rest of the story, Paul Harvey, whatever happened to Arlene Becker? How did she die?
She had, we were right at the tail end of her life. She kept falling, breaking hips, Do you remember this part of it?
I remember.
Yeah,
she was in the hospital.
She was in the hospital.
She didn't want to take no medicine in the hospital. She had them bring her every
Yeah, okay. You remember with clarity, don't you? The saga of Arlene Brecker in and out of hospitals. And what happened was one of those times when she was back in her home, because she would not want to stay anywhere for any length of time, there was a fire that actually occurred in her home, and she was able to survive it. In other words, fire company came. Arlene was taken to a hospital to be evaluated because she was certainly, alive, well, and kicking. But in the process of going to that hospital after that event, she suffered a massive stroke and died. That's how she died. It was pretty quick, too. But
this was after she got out after the hip fracture and all.
After all those fractures are done, and she still was, every time I talked to her, she goes, I fell down again, or I got up. So she was always having balance issues, I think, at turning to the end of her life. Then with that fire having such a major impact on her, what a trauma that could be for anybody, it looks like that provoked this massive stroke that she had, and she ultimately died. A little tail end of this, which I think you all in Pittsburgh deserve to know, because you went through this with myself and Arlene over many, many months to years. Her request of her closest friends was that she never wanted to die in a hospital, okay? And so actually a very close friend of hers, and as a result, a close friend of mine, actually had her removed from the hospital, taken to her home, that's where she ended up dying, in a private home with friends and family around her, because it was an ominous set of events. They knew that she would ultimately succumb, but to cater to her final wishes, which was she'd never wanted to die in a hospital, they actually made it happen that she didn't. So she died around friends and family, outside of a hospital, as only Arlene Brecker should, because as much as a distaste as she had for hospitals, she ended up needing them quite a bit there at the end of her life. But when the final event came, it came in the way that she wanted it to come, and her friends made certain it happened. So in sharing that with you, I don't believe I've ever told that part of the story. So now you know the rest of the story, huh?
Great. Is that her husband alive?
No, he actually died about 3 years before she did. He had a massive heart attack in her home, and I believe it was when they were in Florida. That's where they stayed most of the time, especially during the cold months. And then Harold, which was his name, Harold Brecker, who was really, what a team they were, because he was a great businessman, promoter. She was one that had the skills with the writing and wrote the books. Anyway, that combination, one of the players left, and it wasn't too long after, 3 years later, Arlene left too, and she just incessantly talked about him all of the time and missed him greatly, and they've been reunited now, and we certainly do have the rest of the story. Thanks for the call.
Well, some of us like to follow what happened to these people because, she was a big advocate of all the elation and nattokinase, and so for her to have a stroke, things happen.
I'd say certainly do. Hey.
Okay, the other now for the rest of the story. Dr. Ali. Whatever happened to you and Dr. Ali?
Majid Ali, with his NK cell.
Right.
NK cell. We just became estranged. Nothing happened to Dr. Ali. I'm sure he's still out there with this product promoting NK cell therapy. We certainly promoted it too. We used to measure NK cells. I would say that I was not seeing the amount of increase in NK cell activity that was suggested that we could visualize, that we could find. And so that could maybe partly explain why we haven't mentioned the product in such a long time. But Dr. Ali, I actually don't know where he is now, but we should probably find out, because I know the company he represents, to find out what's new with the product that he represents. Okay?
Okay, and finally, are you familiar with Boyd Haley?
Oh my goodness, yes. The guy with the mercury, sure.
Right, and he had a product out OSR one, Oxy Stress Relief.
That's his own chelating product, yes.
Right, and they took that off the market a while back. And were you ever involved with that?
Never really. Boyd was he would only allow certain doctors to sell that product, and I was one of the doctors he would allow to sell it. It's just we never got to the point that we were able to ever get the product in here, and so very few people ever got that chance. And it's news to me that they've taken the product off the market completely, huh?
Yes, they did.
Probably worked too well, my guess.
What's that?
It probably worked too doggone well.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be, sold as an antioxidant, but it actually had chelating properties of mercury, cadmium, lead, and that type. But he didn't want to tout it as that because he would have never been able to go through all the clinical trials and pay the millions of dollars
Sure.
to get it approved as a prescription drug. And that's why I didn't know if you knew from being at your conferences and your lectures around the country where doctors go to, what you heard about it, because everything I knew, it was good, and just like you said, it was probably too good. But
That's how you can tell. Whenever something gets taken off the market, you can just about say, oh, that worked too well. That was the problem. Worked too good, doggone well. But haven't spoken to Boyd in at least over a year now. He was always a great guest. Time to bring him back too. I'm putting a list together, by the way, of guests that I think that and areas I got to go with that I haven't spoken of in a long time. Boyd's certainly one of them. So I got Epicor, NK Cell Activity, Majid Ali, and now this. Promise to follow up on all of them. I've written them down.
Thank you very much.
Great call. Thank you. There you have it, folks. Now that's weighing in. And as Paul Harvey says, there you go. Now you got the rest of the story. Hey, we do have another person knocking on the door, I think. Are they still there out there? Come on. Hello?
I am. Well, geez, Doc.
Hey, go right ahead. What's on your mind?
That guy took me through,
We went down memory lane, didn't we?
Yep, absolutely. Right
Yeah.
now, memory lane, Prevagen, right on the same topic there, huh?
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I talked about?
What?
What you were talking about. Apitherapy.
Apitherapy, yes.
Yeah, we, I guess early this year, Dave and I had the opportunity to actually take classes learning how to manage beehives, how to manage bees and hats.
You don't have a beehive up on that hill, do you?
No, we don't.
All right.
We don't yet. We will.
Well, you will.
We will. We wanted to get the scoop, and we learned all about the biology and the habitat and how to take care of them. But those classes were put together. In fact, there's one going on. A two-part of it just started. The first part was last week, and the second part tomorrow morning. But
Is that the one in Point Breeze?
Pardon me?
Is that the class in Point Breeze?
I'm not. Is it a Point Breeze? I thought it was at Beechwood Farms, but it could be at Point Breeze now.
Yeah, I think the Penn State offering it?
It is with Penn State, and it's actually being taught by Berg Bees.
That's it. That's the Breeze. That's Berg Bees. Okay, that is the article that I read. So they promoted it last week.
Joe and Robert Sturzinski and Robert Steffies are the two guys that really put that together. There's more people involved, Jennifer Woods. There's a group of people. I can't remember everybody's names. But that group is an awesome group. And for anybody who's interested in bees or apitherapy, I had them, Dave and I had them both come on our show one Sunday morning, and they were fascinating. Just everything that they know about bees to fill volumes. But apitherapy, we've met a number of people. We did another program with bees. There's a huge, it's for people who are interested in bees. There's a huge event every year sponsored by Penn State, and they usually have it up in the Cranberry area. And there's 50 to at least 50 vendors up there. You can get anything from bee soap to beeswax to bee hives to bee jewelry. I mean, it's really a cool event. So, I'll let you know when it's happening.
Oh, yeah, let me know what's happening. Anybody that you know that supplies like Charlie Morass, you heard me talking today. Charlie was a guy we used to call up up in Vermont, and he would say, he would send us a bottle of the bee venom. Anybody, I don't know anybody else that's doing that.
I think you're right. That's one of the...
He was like one of a kind.
Well, there's apitherapies actually being widely used, but a lot of what people are doing are using the bees. And when I've seen it, and I've seen a number of, I haven't seen any live apitherapy, but I've seen it on TV, I've seen it in videos, and they always use the bees. They always take the actual bee and use the actual bee.
Well, Charlie said that that was absolutely the best way to do it, but for whatever reasons, you can understand why some people, they don't have it. It may be available to them. The whole thing was distasteful enough. So he supplied it to doctors like myself that uses a syringe and were able just to inject a wheel of it underneath the skin. And I'm going to say the effect was maybe only 60 or 70% as to what the actual bee sting would be. But it was something that you could control because you could do this in a doctor's office. You could do it in a few moments. You didn't have to sit around the hive. You didn't have to worry about bees stinging you. And it still stung. It's when you put it underneath the skin, it was an uncomfortable feeling that you got, but it was able to generate the relief of symptoms, and that's why people, at the time when I could get that product, I actually did. You might as well say I was doing apitherapy, but not near a hive. Okay.
Well, and what did people come in for the most? People that I've met who have used apitherapy have used it mostly for arthritis, but arthritis pain.
Exactly right. Arthritis and MS, those two.
Oh, right.
So those were the two big ones.
I find it fascinating. Well, taking that a step further, I think that, just like anything else that we've talked about over the years, like food, bees are another entity whose source you have to be careful about. Because many commercial bee growers, and we've talked about this before, many of them use force feed their bees high fructose corn syrup. Remember, so again, if you're going to do apitherapy, you'd be wanting to look for people who raise bees and do it organically or do it naturally, where they don't use any of the miticides. And that's what I thought was very cool about the bird bees. They teach you how to do your bees without having to use any chemicals. There's lots of little tricks to raising bees where you can raise them and not have to use any kind of a chemical, miticide, sanitizers, anything like that. You can know how to do it. And
I tell you what, looks like you may be our resource, especially if I see bees flying around on top of that hill where you live. I'll be pulling in, and you can tell me all about it, Faith. Folks, wouldn't you know, she'd be right there. She's going to have a hive soon. Look, I got bongos in the background, Faith. You know what that means. Everybody out there enjoyed our little time together today. Thank you very much for giving us a call. I'll get to work on the things I mentioned here. I got some other things on my plate I'll get to next week. Until then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AIM Impact on Your Health.
Sponsored by Dennis J. Courtney, MD, Director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Here's what's happening from KHB. The Vietnam veterans of Westmoreland County are having a 10-year anniversary commemoration at the memorial near the Upper Lake at Twin Lakes Park this Saturday, November 13th at 11 a.m. The service is open to the public. Come out to honor the 97 Westmoreland County veterans listed on the memorial. For more information, visit www.bbwc.org.
Do you have stress in your life? We all do. From the time we get up in the morning, drive through traffic to work, deal with our coworkers, return in rush hours, deal with our children, and then go through it again every day. All of this stress bombards us, causing our bodies to trigger a defense mechanism and to release excessive amounts of a hormone called cortisol. Our bodies are saying, slow down. This leads to a condition known as chronic stress. Stress is a reality in our world. the AMA reports that 80% of all illnesses are stress-related. In the most volcanically active area in the world, eastern Russia, scientists found 12 very rare plants they call adaptogens. These adaptogens have been blended into a product we call Stress Less Plus.